We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to the meeting. I want to call to order, the chair detects a quorum, and I'll call to order the Metropolitan Planning Commission meeting of January 13th, 2022. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. A couple of housekeeping items, commissioners, before we get started. If everybody'd silent their phone, just so we make sure that we're not have any interruptions, we appreciate that. Also, obviously, we encourage everyone to wear a mask, and so we do have KN95 masks available if you need one. So, also, so next is the adoption of the agenda, and commissioners, hope you've looked at the agenda. It was sent out to you previously. We'll need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
So, motion and a second. And any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The agenda is adopted. We're on item C, which is the approval of the December 9th, 2021 minutes. Those minutes were sent out prior as well. And we'll need a motion to adopt those minutes. Any questions, or we'll need a motion? There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the December 9th, 2021 minutes are adopted. We do have, I don't see any council members. Next is the recognition of the council members. I do know that we have Senator Gilmore in the audience, and I was just wondering if, and her daughter, Miss Gilmore, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Our esteemed clerk, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. All right, seeing no council members, we are ready for item E, which is items for deferral withdrawal. And Lisa, are you going to take us through those?
The following items are for deferral or withdrawal. On page 3 of your agenda, item 1A, 2019 CP 008003, North Nashville Community Plan Amendment. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item 1B on page 4 of your agenda, 2021 SP 059001, 9th and Buchanan. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th Planning Commission meeting. Item 2A, 2020 CP 003002, Bordeaux, Whites Creek, Haynes, Trinity Community Plan Amendment. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th Planning Commission meeting. Item 2B, 2020 SP 022001, Hickory Highlands at Little Creek. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th Planning Commission meeting. Item 3A, 2021 CP 014001, Donaldson Hermitage Old Hickory Community Plan Amendment. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. On page 5 of your agenda, item 3B, 2021 SP 092001, Dodson Chapel. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 4, 2020 Z 013TX 001, related to an owner-occupied short-term rental overlay. Staff recommendation is to defer to the April 28th meeting. Item number 5, 2021 Z 013TX 001, related to inclusionary housing. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 6, 2020 Z 119PR 001, rezoning for various parcels in Germantown. Staff recommendation is to defer to the April 28th meeting. Item number 7, 2021 SP 057001, Marina Grove. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. On page 6 of your agenda, item number 8, 2021 SP 063001, Charlotte View West. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 9, 2021 SP 072001, 4319 Saundersville Road. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting, and I would like to note that Commissioner Blackshear is recusing herself. Item number 10, 2021 SP 081001, Oliveri Mixed Use. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th Planning Commission meeting. Item number 11, 2021 SP 089001, 1705 Hayes Street. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 12, 2021 SP 095001, 2600 Dickerson Pike. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. On page 7 of your agenda, item number 13, 2021 SP 096001, 1301 2nd Avenue North. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 24th meeting. Item number 14, 2022 SP 002001, Brentwood Chase. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 15, 2022 SP 005001, 19th and Church. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 16, 2021 DTC 027001, 801 Monroe. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. On page 8 of your agenda, item number 17, 2022 SP 017001, re-subdivision of Lot 1 Doyle subdivision. Staff recommendation is to defer to the March 24th meeting. Item number 18, 2021 Z077PR001, a rezoning on Cowden Avenue. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 19, 2021 S227001, re-subdivision plat of Lot 364 of the plan of D.T. McGavick. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. Item number 20, 2021 S238001, Bowles property. Staff recommendation is deferred to the February 10th meeting. Item 21, 2021 Z114PR001, a rezoning on Crutcher Street. Staff recommendation is deferred to the March 24th meeting. On page 9 of your agenda, item number 26, 2021 SP 091001, Pinhook Ridge. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting, and I would like to note that Commissioner Blackshear is recusing herself from that item. On page 12 of your agenda, item number 40, 188-84P-004, I-24 Limited section of Century South PUD revision. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. And I would like to note that Commissioner Blackshear is recusing herself from that item. Item number 41, 2021 Z018TX001, a text amendment related to bar nightclub use. Staff recommendation is to defer to the March 24th Planning Commission meeting. On page 13 of your agenda, item number 43, 2021 SP 068001, South Street North. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 10th meeting. And item number 44, 2022 Z003PR001, a rezoning on Jenny Brown Lane. Staff recommendation is to defer to the February 24th meeting.
Thank you, Lisa. And so we'll go slow, Commissioners, just to make sure that we have all these. It's a long list. So the items to be deferred are items 1A, and make sure this is correct, Lisa. So items 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 26, 40, 41, 43, and 44. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, Commissioners, you've heard those items for deferral. Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Yes, I move to accept items on deferral.
Thank you, Commissioner. And there's a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Those items are deferred. Now we are on to the consent agenda. Lisa?
Sorry. Items on the consent agenda will be voted on a single time. No individual public hearing will be held, nor will the commission debate these items unless a member of the audience or the commission requests that the item be removed from the consent agenda. I'm going to go through the items that are on the consent agenda. I will read out the number, the case number, and the name of the item. If you are in opposition to the item, please raise your hand. If we have people in opposition, then the items will be presented. Otherwise, they will be on consent. Item number 22, 2018 SP 009003, Sage Run SP. Is there anyone in opposition to item number 22? Item number 23, 2021 SP 067001, West Side Retreat. Is there anyone in opposition to item 23? Item number 24, 2021 SP 087001, 2306 Brick Church Pike. Is there anyone in opposition to item number 24? Item number 25, 2021 SP 088001, 0 Tuggle Avenue. Is there anyone in opposition to item 25?
Hold on, Lisa. We
Yep.
have,
I got it.
Oh, are you 24 or 25? 25. Okay.
Thank you. Item number 27, 2022 SP 004001, Lakewood Cottages. Is there anyone in opposition to item 27? Item 28, 2022 SP 006001, Hill Center, Germantown. Is there anyone in opposition to item 28? Item 29, 2021 Z 111 PR 001. Is there anyone in opposition to item 29? Item 30, 2021 Z 118 PR 001. It's a rezoning on Buena Vista Pike. Is anyone in opposition to item number 30? Item number 31, 2021 Z 128 PR 001, a rezoning on Watts Lane. Is there anyone in opposition to item 31? Item 32, 2022 Z 001 PR 001, a rezoning on Wallace Road. Is there anyone in opposition to item 32? Item 33, 2022 Z 002 PR 001, a rezoning on Hawkins Street. Is there anyone in opposition to item 33? Item number 34, 2022 Z 004 PR 001, a rezoning on Douglas Avenue. Is there anyone in opposition to item number 34? Item number 35, 2022 Z 006 PR 001, a rezoning on Courtney Avenue. Is there anyone in opposition to item 35? Item number 36, 2021 CDO 001001, Clarksville Pike Corridor Design Overlay. Is there anyone in opposition to item number 36? Item number 37, 2021 CDO 002001, West Trinity Lane Corridor Design Overlay. Is there anyone in opposition to item number 37? Item number 38, 2021 S 240001, re-subdivision of Lot 5 Craighead Lands. Is there anyone in opposition to item number 38? Item number 39, 2021 DTC 026001, 1100 Broadway. Is there anyone opposed to item number 39? Okay, and item number 45, 2021 Z 107 PR 001, a rezoning on Antioch Pike. Is there anyone opposed to item 45? Okay, Chair, I'm now going to run through and read the captions of all of those items.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
As information for our audience, if you are not satisfied with a decision made by the Planning Commission today, you may appeal to the decision by petitioning for a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Planning Commission's decision. To ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met, please be advised that you should contact independent legal counsel. The following items are on the consent agenda. On page 9 of your agenda, item number 22, 2018 SP 009003, Sage Run SP Amendment. It's a request to amend a specific plan for properties located at 5754 River Road and River Road unnumbered to add 5.9 acres to the SP to permit 160 multifamily units. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all conditions. Item number 23, 2021 SP 067001, West Side Retreat. It's a request to rezone from R15 to SP for properties located on Charlotte Pike to permit 20 multifamily residential units. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all conditions. Item number 24, 2021 SP 087001, 2306 Brick Church Pike. It's a request to rezone from CL to SP for properties located on Brick Church Pike to permit a mixed-use development. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all conditions. On page 10 of your agenda, item number 27, 2022 SP 004001, Lakewood Cottages. It's a request to rezone from RS5 to SP for properties located on Lakeshore Drive to permit a detached two-family residential unit. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all conditions. Item number 28, 2022 SP 006001, Hill Center, Germantown. It's a request to rezone from CS, IR, and OR20 to SP for property located on 5th Avenue North, Madison Street, and 4th Avenue North on the corner of 4th and Jefferson to permit a mixed-use development. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all conditions. Item number 29, 2021Z 111PR 001. It's a request to rezone from SP to AR2A for property located on Clarksville Pike. A request to rezone from SP to AR2A for property located on Clarksville Pike. Staff recommendation is to approve. Item number 30, 2021Z 118PR 001. It's a request to rezone from R8 to RM40A and S for property located on Buena Vista Pike. Staff recommendation is to approve with recommendation that staff further evaluate the area's land use policies in the future to determine appropriate infrastructure needs. Item number 31, 2021Z 128PR 001. It's a request to rezone from R6 to RM15A for property located on Watts Lane. Staff recommendation is to approve. Item number 32, 2022Z 001PR 001. It's a request to rezone from OL to MULANS for property located on Wallace Road. Staff recommendation is to approve, and I would like to note that Commissioner Blackshear is recusing herself from that item. Item number 33, 2022Z 002PR 001. It's a request to rezone from R6A to RM15ANS for properties located on Hawkins Street. Staff recommendation is to approve. Item number 34, 2022Z 004PR 001. It's a request to rezone from RS5 to R6A for properties located on Douglas Avenue. Staff recommendation is to approve. Item number 35, 2022Z 006PR 001. It's a request to rezone from R10 to RM15A for property located on Courtney Avenue. Staff recommendation is to approve. Item number 36, 2021 CDO 001001, Clarksville Pike Corridor Design Overlay. It's a request to apply a corridor design overlay to various properties along Clarksville Pike. Staff recommendation is to approve with a substitute ordinance. On page 12 of your agenda, item number 37, 2021 CDO 002001, West Trinity Lane Corridor Design Overlay. It's a request to apply a corridor design overlay to various properties along West Trinity Lane. Staff recommendation is to approve with a substitute ordinance. Item number 38, 2021 S-240-001, re-subdivision of Lot 5, Craighead Lands. It's a request for concept plan approval to create 2 lots on property located on Walton Lane. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions, including an exception to the compatibility requirements for lot frontage. Item number 39, 2021 DTC 026001, 1100 Broadway. It's a request for an overall height modification for property located on Broadway, 11th Avenue, Porter Street, to permit a 28-story office tower and 41-story residential tower. Staff recommendation is to approve with conditions. And I would like to note that Commissioner Blackshear is recusing herself from that item. And under other business, item number 46, employee contract renewal for Anita McCaig and Simone Holder. Item number 47, a bonus height certification memo for 915 Division Street, with Commissioner Blackshear recusing herself on 47. And item number 51, to accept the director's report.
Thank you, Lisa. And so, commissioners, we'll go slow again, make sure we have these all right. So, Lisa, make sure we have these right for the commissioners. So, the items to be passed on the consent agenda are items number 22, 23, 24, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 46, 47, and 51. Is that correct?
That's correct, and I don't think I noted that Commissioner Blackshear was recusing herself on item 28.
On 28?
Yeah.
On 28, Commissioner? Okay.
I
Yes.
think I read the others, I forgot that one.
Okay. Commissioners, you've heard the items on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt? Motion? Is there a second? Second? Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. And those items are on the consent agenda. So for the audience, we really appreciate everyone being here. And so I just want to say thank you for coming down. And we will hear, Lisa, I believe this is correct, items 25, 42, and 45. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, we'll let everybody, if everybody could quickly and quietly, we'll give everybody a few seconds because we want to make sure we can hear everything. So let's give them a moment. All right, so the items that we're going to be hearing tonight, Commissioners, are 3 items, items 25, 42, and 45. But before we get to that, we're going to be doing this is item G on your agenda. We're doing an informational presentation on the East Bank study. And so we've had some workshops. We've actually done one in the area. And so I know that I'm excited to hear this. And Sean Shepard is going to present it, but I also want to recognize Faye DeMassimo, who has really helped on this project. Faye, will you stand up? And then we appreciate your help on this project. I know you've been an integral part of this, so thank you very much. And then, Commissioners, if there's questions, either Sean or Faye are here to answer any additional questions that you may have. So without further ado, Sean, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. Sean Shepard, I'm with the Planning Department. I am representing today for Anna Greider, who is the manager of the East Bank study, but I've been working closely with her on this project. And we appreciate the opportunity to give you guys an update on some of the work that happened over the past year, particularly since the work session and site tour that we did with the commission, and then where we're headed in the new year as well. So,
Sean, if you could move towards your microphone just a little bit. There we go. Perfect.
move it. Better?
Yep.
All right. So just a quick reminder for the commissioners, because we've turned a new year since some of us have looked at this, and for any members of the public who may just be getting plugged in, the East Bank study area extends from Jefferson Street at the north to where the Interstate 24 bridge crosses the river at the south, and it's bounded by the Cumberland River on the west and the interstate on the east. It comprises 338 acres. And last year, a bulk of our works focused on identifying the existing conditions, challenges, and opportunities in this area. Of that 338 acres, we have 127 acres of surface parking. We've got a pretty significant lack of continuous mobility routes through the area. We have no housing, and we have 1.7 miles of riverfront, but only 0.25 miles of that are actually activated at this time. So there's a lot of opportunity to envision something different in this area. That's just a reminder of some of the issues that we've been grappling with. And there's a lot of info on this slide, so I'm not going to go through everything, but I just wanted to remind everyone that we started this project in earnest in early 2021. We've made a lot of progress since then, but I think the important takeaway here is that this is a planning study that is going to be multi-phased and may take many, many years to implement. But we've begun with phase one, which was to establish a vision and define the infrastructure needed to direct future growth in this area, a lot of which is actually permitted by the zoning that's in place today. And so with an eye towards defining that vision, we always take that as a collaborative, community-focused process. We've done a lot of engagement throughout the year last year, over 19 public meetings to date, some of those in person, some of them virtual, some of them a combination to try to cater to all needs. We've had a survey with over 1,500 responses. We've met with property owners across the East Bank to have, understand their needs, and are continuing to do that. And we've had over 150 technical meetings with community and federal, state, and local agency partners to try to work through some of the infrastructure constraints and challenges and make sure we're understanding the issues. And from all of that engagement, we've identified four top concerns that have emerged from those conversations. Better, safer, and easier connectivity, riverfront access and resiliency, destinations for Nashvillians, and equity and affordability. And so for each of these, we spent the last year evaluating the issue in more detail and trying to come up with ideas and concepts to address concerns that we could take back to the community for feedback. And so in November of last year, we held our most recent large public meeting. And we presented some concepts to the community that we had begun developing to gather feedback. This is an aerial of the East Bank today. You're sort of looking south here. And at the November meeting, we shared a concept sketch, among many other concepts, that identified some of the key concepts and planning principles that are emerging as important to the future of the East Bank. That would include mobility and accessibility through bikeways and greenways, an activated and publicly accessible riverfront, a multimodal boulevard to provide continuous north-south connectivity through the area, residential streets and neighborhood parks to serve kind of future residents of this area, encouraging development that is oriented to and accessible from future transit service, including a diversity of housing types to provide a range of opportunities for folks to live here where that's safe. And then green streets and resilient landscapes. This is an area prone to flooding, so we've wanted to understand those issues and make sure we're coming up with concepts that will respond to that kind of environment. And because of the significant amount of potential development that could come under existing zoning or maybe proposed in the future, we also wanted to take a special focus on infrastructure. And we're grappling with a severely disjointed street grid here, particularly if you're trying to travel north to south. And so we recognized it was important to focus on this and ensure that we could make the area safe and accessible to everyone as it develops out. We also had a lot of community feedback about the challenges of navigating this area by any mode currently, whether you're on foot or bike or in a car or a transit user. And so the desire to see a safe and functional multimodal network on the East Bank is a key priority that we've heard throughout the process. So a big part of our focus to date has been some early conceptual and planning level work around establishing a multimodal boulevard that would run primarily north-south through the East Bank. And you may have heard some announcements late last year about we've entered into an agreement with TDOT where we'll be working with them to address the early planning, evaluation, and acquisition of right-of-way needs related to establishing this boulevard. We're partnering very closely with TDOT to make sure that infrastructure is coordinated, both related to the boulevard and other plans and studies that they may have in the area, so that we can take advantage of the opportunity to make the whole network function better as a whole. And then as we have continued to work on infrastructure needs, as we move into the coming months, we're continuing to gather feedback with the aim of putting together a vision plan for the East Bank. The commission can expect to see this document sometime in the spring, and it would cover the conceptual framework that's emerging from the public meeting in November and from continued feedback that we're gathering, as well as include kind of more details on the topics and principles that will be important to guide future growth and development in the East Bank. We'll remind the commissioners, but also the community, that if anybody has an interest in the project and would like to see the work to date, including many presentations and other engagement materials, those are all available on the website. Folks can also sign up for updates if they'd like to stay engaged in next steps in the study. And if there are any specific questions, either Faye or myself are happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Any questions, commissioners? I do want to make a short comment that I appreciate the team for working on this. I know the area is ripe for a vision and good planning, and it is a pretty dramatic shift. And so I'm kind of excited about the project personally and appreciate everyone working on this and really appreciate the commissioner's involvement in this project. So I want to say thank you to them. I want to thank our director. I know that Director Kempf has worked a lot on this and the team. So I appreciate everybody. Any other questions? All right, seeing none. Item 25. Yeah. So sorry about that. So how this? So I know a lot of people in the audience come and you've never seen us operate. So let me just give you a little reminder of how we do that. So we do the presentation. We'll open up the public hearing, and once we open up the public hearing, the applicant has 10 minutes to speak, and then we'll take anyone wishing to speak in support after the applicant. And then anyone wishing to speak in opposition will be next. And then anyone wishing to speak in support or opposition has 2 minutes. And please state your name and address for the record. So we're going to run through the presentation now. We'll let the applicant speak first, and then we'll get into the discussion part. So I appreciate everybody coming down. All right, presentation.
This is item number 25. This is a request to rezone property to SP to permit 8 residential units. The site is approximately 1.74 acres is at the end of Morton Avenue. It's outlined in red. Staff is recommending approval with conditions and disapproval without all conditions. The existing zoning is single-family residential and can permit up to 10 single-family lots. This is the proposed SP. It includes 8 residential units. Vehicular access is provided from Morton Avenue. The internal drive is private. The plan includes architectural standards pertaining to, but not limited to, building design and materials. The plan limits building height to 2 stories and 25 feet, and a landscape buffer is provided along the western property line. The site is in the South Nashville Community Plan. The policy is suburban neighborhood maintenance and conservation. The conservation policy applies to a stream and stream buffers. Generally, neighborhood maintenance is intended to preserve the character of the area it is applied. While the majority of the surrounding development is single family, the site has little relationship to the surrounding area due to location and site conditions. In terms of density, the plan provides a transition between the single-family neighborhood to the west and the multifamily uses to the east. Due to these factors, staff finds that the proposed SP is consistent with the maintenance policy. The stream is not being disturbed, and buffers are provided adjacent to the streams. This protects the streams consistent with the conservation policy. In conclusion, staff is recommending approval with conditions and disapproval without all conditions.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. We'll go ahead and open this item for public hearing, and applicant has 10 minutes, and you can save 2 of the 10 minutes for rebuttal. Welcome.
Is it on? Okay, there we
You're
go.
good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Michael Garrigan. I'm with Dale & Associates, 516 Heather Place. As Jason stated, the property is currently zoned RS 7.5, which would permit up to 10 single-family lots. What's before you today is eight units. The reason we did that is there's some steeper topography on the north side, and then the stream, as Jason outlined, on the southeast corner. We obviously wanted to stay off of those and maintain the vegetation that's there, so we decided to cluster these and do 8 instead of the 10 the RS 7.5 currently permits. It is a transition. There's some condominiums, kind of looks like an apartment complex, but they're for sale condominiums to the east, and then single family to the west. So this is a bit of a transition piece. To the north is a large, it's zoned residential, but it's a daycare, but it's a larger tract, similar to ours. My client held a community meeting, and there were some little items that we've addressed on the plan. One was guest parking. We provided 5 visitor spaces on the plan that's before you. And the second was they wanted the homes spaced out more than they previously were, which we've shrunk the footprint so that they're spaced apart by 10 feet, which is consistent with a 5-foot setback and a 5-foot setback in the RS 7.5 zoning. But the biggest item of concern is the intersection of Morton and Wingate. Jason, can you go back to the slide that showed, I guess, the tax maps, the overall? Wingate is a north-south street that connects from Thompson Lane then to the south, and it's offset, if you see that just west of our property. So the way that the pavement works is it makes an awkward S-curve, a very tight S-curve, and then it has stop control there where Morton, the east-west street, and then the north leg of Wingate. So you come around this sharp S-curve, and bam, you hit the stop sign. So what's happening is people are coming around that curve, they're not realizing there's a stop sign as soon as they get around it, and they're blowing right through it, and there's been some accidents in that area. As part of this plan, Public Works has actually approved the construction plans to improve Morton to our property, and what that will create is 2 offset stop-controlled T intersections. So no more of this quick around the curve action, but pull up to a stop sign. You're coming heading straight north on Wingate. You see the stop sign, you stop, then you turn left like you normally would, and it's stop controlled on the other side too. So ultimately, it will be very close to kind of a hybrid between a 4-way stop and then an offset T intersection, but no dangerous sharp curve without the stop control. So like I said, those construction plans have been approved, as well as the signage and the striping that goes along with those. So ultimately, the concern was adding more 8 more households to that awkward Morton Road intersection. And we feel like we're very confident, so I can't speak for the Department of Public, or NDOT, I'm sorry. But I believe that this will definitely, absolutely be a much safer intersection once complete. So, thank you all.
Hi, my name is Stephen Emery. I represent the applicant. I am the builder, along with my partner on the project. I live at 237 Antioch Pike, Nashville, Tennessee. So actually another item on the agenda is on the other side of Wright Middle School. So at this point, I don't have that much to add to Dale, who's our consultant on the project. I think he did a pretty good job of explaining the situation as it stands. I just wanted to say that we held a community meeting, had a lot of feedback that needed to be addressed. Like Michael said, the majority of it being that intersection. So at this point, I would say some of the concerns that they had as it pertains to the design, we addressed, and that's why we deferred from the last meeting, made sure that we heard the concerns in the neighborhood. And then Michael has done some background research as to what we can do at that intersection to improve it. And furthermore, we have a lot of projects in the area and definitely a vested interest. I would just say that we definitely take the neighborhood's concerns seriously and want to make sure that everything we do is kind of in alignment with the neighborhood to improve it and to not kind of take away from it. So just wanted to say thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And we'll save 2 minutes for rebuttal for you guys. And now, anyone wishing to speak in support of the project? In support? Seeing none, anyone in opposition? Come on up, sir. State your name and address, and you have 2 minutes. The timer is right there. Go ahead.
That's why I'm at the sound man. My name is Bill Dirk, and I live at 3009 Dobbs Avenue. I've been there for 8 years. My wife has been there for 20. I am the past president and vice president of the Glencliff Neighborhood Association and the past vice president of the Glencliff Elementary PTO. I'm invested in the neighborhood, clearly. This intersection is going to cause a fatality, period. What I just heard from the stop thing, it sounds good. Here's how you prevent the fatality. Give us a sidewalk through the curve. No more excuses, no more waivers. Give us a sidewalk. Every day, my wife and I try and keep yoga mommies from the Airbnbs from getting run over on our streets. The three-way intersection that's there now was fought for long and hard. This is not going to help us. And frankly, I don't think our council member adequately reflects the views of many of the people in our council district on our side of the district. And it's a dynamic that a lot of council districts have. But I want to state here pretty clearly, not everybody really wants to see this kind of density here. It doesn't really add much to our neighborhood, but as far as traffic goes, I sincerely believe, as a retired firefighter and EMT, that one day there will be a fatality completely preventable in that strip of road. So give us a sidewalk. Give us 100 feet through the curve. Do that and I'll come back and support. Don't, and when the lawsuit happens, frankly, I can't even make sure this is documented. I am that concerned. I want it documented in the public record how dangerous that curve is. I don't think this will help. Give us the sidewalk or a bike lane. Give us something that pedestrians can walk in a relatively safe, controlled fashion. That's all I have. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your help.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? All right, rebuttal, 2 minutes.
One thing I failed to mention before is when you're northbound on Wingate, right before you get to this curve, you're also on a steep incline. So I can absolutely see how you're coming around and next thing you know, A, you're turning, B, you're supposed to stop. As part of our plan, we're willing to commit, obviously we're doing sidewalks in front of our frontage, which you can see is not very much there, but we will take it from our southwest corner to the intersection of the other leg of Wingate. So, number one, that gets rid of the dangerous curve. Number two, it provides sidewalk through that intersection. So, and we'll make sure that gets added in prior to council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. See, we're nicer than usual, I guess. It's a good start to the new year. A good start to the new year. We're not all bad. Contrary to, no, just, all right. Anyone else wishing to speak? I don't see the council member. So seeing no one else wishing to speak, I declare the public hearing closed. Commissioner Sims, you want to go first?
I want to thank you for coming tonight. It really means a lot when we get to hear from the neighborhood themselves, and we got letters, so I kind of understand. I also went out to see this piece of property because we've looked at very strange pieces of property across time, and this was one of the weirdest I've actually seen, and I thought so too. I know. I experienced that stop sign phenomena. I almost had a wreck, so I'm really grateful for this, the commitment to the sidewalk. This piece of land does fit in, I think. I like what you're trying to do. I do want to make sure we get documented the sidewalk commitment here, but other than that, I have no other questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Henley?
Not to echo my fellow commissioner too much, but again, I do appreciate you for showing up. I think those actions and those comments go a long way, particularly here with the commission, but also, you know, in how we build our environment going forward. The only thing I would say, and you were an advocate for it, is, you know, we have to be very careful, you know, placing a lot of onus on the private sector for the public realm. I know there's a great opportunity for partnerships there, and it just seems like we just had a great example of that. But from what was shown in front of us, the proposed SP, and the way they've already seemed to have responded to the community, I'm in support of this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Councilman? Oh, you're not on. You're not on.
How about that one? There we go.
There, you're on now.
In my interactions with Councilmember Welch, I know that she is a big proponent of adding housing as a means of just addressing the growth that's happening in our county, especially in this portion of the county, and overall affordability, sometimes just through supply, but also through affordable housing directly. So I know that Councilmember Welch respects the neighborhood maintenance that exists in a lot of that area. A lot of it does as single-family zoning, while at the same time she looks for strategically placed and appropriately located opportunities to add some density. In this case, you know, the density is actually less than what could happen by base zoning, although we all know that, you know, the odds of continuing Tugwell Avenue through the site to the north and down here to complete the intersection is not really a possibility. But yet something is going to go on this land, and I think this is a really good opportunity. This is a little bit less density than what base zoning allows, but I think it's one of the things I like about this plan is that it is very similar to the parcel to the east. There isn't quite as much open space as that one, but I appreciate the fact that it does sort of mimic the parcel to the east by placing the housing units in the center and having a very, very generous landscape buffer around it. So I think that does fit in to what's adjacent to it. Appreciate the neighbor coming out. We had a lot of emails about several cases today that were passed on, that we approved on consent. So I think coming out definitely makes a difference. So I appreciate you doing that. Sidewalks are very, very difficult for Metro to do. Sometimes, you know, I've got a sidewalk that I put in the capital improvements budget and when I campaigned in 2015, and it was funded the year after that, and we have all the right-of-way, and 6 years later, it's still not built. So just want to put that out there, that sidewalks are very, very difficult to build, even on relatively flat terrain, and when you get topography issues, it's even more difficult. So I appreciate Mr. Garrigan speaking not only to the stop sign issue, but adding sidewalks where they can, because I know how difficult that can be. So with that, I really feel that this project is, a lot of thought has gone into this project, and I think that it is a good use of a really unusual piece of land, and I support the staff recommendation and what other additional conditions the commission would like to add.
Thank you, Councilman. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. I too follow Commissioner Sims' method and visited the site because there was some opposition, and, good point was raised. It seems like, if I was just looking at this as a 2D portion, since the east is multi-housing and then daycare, so it seems like this, 8 seems fits in this puzzle. However, my concern was the extension of, is it Morton Road. So could you please tell me a little bit more about the extension of the Morton? Because the way I look at it is the edge of the property directly across to the south seems like there's a stone wall. And then extension of the Morton looks like literally somebody's driveway. So in order for this property to go in, I'm assuming the improvement is Morton is one of the conditions. So if you would a little bit expand on what kind of condition and improvement is required to get to the this development, that would be helpful.
That's correct. The roadway will be improved all the way to the eastern side of their entrance.
Is there any discussion about that existing stone wall? Seems like the distance in between the stone wall is, I'm not sure if it's enough for the 2 cars to go. Seems to be not wide enough as of right now.
That's within the public right-of-way, so those will be taken out as far as I would know. I haven't had anybody call about that, but that is in the public right-of-way.
So if the stone wall is not in the public right-of-way, it will be kind of demolished and widened to accommodate safe right-of-way?
That is correct.
Okay, that's better. Because that was my concern, how you gonna accommodate, somebody's driveway without, since it was really nice stone wall, so I hate to be demolished, but at the same time, without that moving, there will be impossible to improve that section. So having said that, I was really concerned about those street improvement because it was literally looked like somebody's driveway as of right now. But with this improvement and also adding a sidewalk to make more safety measure, I feel much more comfortable supporting at this juncture. And with nice landscaping buffer, that would be beneficial to the community.
Thank you. Commissioner Blackshear?
I don't have any further comments. I'm assuming if we get to the point to make a motion, someone would just add the sidewalk as one of the conditions. Okay.
That is correct. Commissioner?
A couple of quick questions. So are there actually 8 units? Is that what we're proposing? It's not, I saw multifamily. I just wanted to make sure it was just 8 units going back there.
It's just 8 as proposed. It's described as multifamily because anytime you have 3 or more units on one lot, it's multifamily. So it's essentially 8 detached multifamily units, but each of the boxes is 1 unit.
Okay. And I know the curve very well. That is one of those stop signs is relatively new too, to try to fix it. And it, having lived on Kinross for 15 years, right around the corner from there, I do know that area really well. And that, what we're talking about is an issue because and that's why I was wanting to make sure there was only 8 homes going in there because that could be a lot of traffic coming out of an awkward area. And as you said, Mr. Garrigan, there is a slope issue there. Did a lot of sledding down that other side of Kinross, so definitely familiar with that area. But yeah, I was forgotten that this big area, parcel was back there. So I will make a motion to approve with the condition that the sidewalk in the Morton turn is, I guess I'm just going to say is corrected. Maybe it's probably a better way to say it, or is implemented per what was described in staff report. I mean, described in the comments, I guess, meeting minutes. Is that good?
And yeah, that's good enough according to staff. So Commissioner Tibbs, thank you for making that motion. It's a proper motion. Is there a second? Second. Proper second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it, and item 25 is approved. Thank you for coming down. We appreciate it. All right. So we have item number 42. So we have Mr. Corey Clark, and we don't know if this is his first time presenting, commissioners, or not, and we don't give the first time people any headaches, okay? So, all right. Oh, it is his first time, so no hard questions, commissioners. All right. We're getting on the... All right, Mr. Clark, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So good evening, Commissioners. Corey Clark, planner with the Community Plan section, and I'll be presenting agenda item number 42, a request to amend the West Nashville Community Plan. So staff recommendation is to disapprove. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background about this plan amendment, the site actually. So it's located at the end of Cowden Avenue, which is west of the intersection of Marcia Avenue. The site is currently vacant and was home to a single-family dwelling which was demolished back in November 2020. The site abuts a newly single-family two-story home, an existing surface parking lots, and a used automobile sales lot. It's surrounded on three sides by the suburban mixed-use corridor policy, and the surrounding residential area has a suburban residential pattern with several homes under construction, currently under construction. So the applicant brought to us a request to change the policy from suburban neighborhood evolving to suburban mixed-use corridor policy, which you can see on the map, which is outlined in red. So I'll give a little background here about the current policy. Suburban neighborhood evolving policy is currently applied to the site and to a great extent to the surrounding neighborhood area. The policy is also in place along Cowden Avenue and extends to the residential areas east, south, and southwest of the site. As you move east beyond Marcia Avenue, the Charlotte Pike corridor transitions to a urban mixed-use neighborhood policy. And lastly, we have conservation policy shown in the green, which is applied to areas of the neighborhood because of the steep slopes in the area to the east of Cowden Avenue. So, community participation, we held a community meeting back here on August the 19th. We had approximately 15 people who were in attendance. And the issues that the attendees brought up were, as you can see, some of the issues here were business encroachment, destabilizing the established neighborhood, having additional traffic being created on Cowden Avenue, Marcia Avenue, and all throughout the surrounding residential area. A building parking lot next to an adjacent residential site, losing residential property in a key location during the competitive housing market. And lastly, there was just a desire to keep the existing land use policy and residential zoning intact. So what we did, community plans, we did an analysis of the requested policy change, and we looked at 4 components. First, Nashville Next guidance, also the community character policy, Next, we have transportation and connectivity. And lastly, we looked at the relationship to the surrounding policies. So first up, we're going to use the Nashville Next guidance. So that is, the plan amendment is situated in a location designated as a transition and infill area for the nearby center. So transition and infill areas, they have moderately dense residential and small-scale office that are appropriate along and around prominent corridors and centers to provide a connection to the surrounding neighborhoods. So with the application of the suburban mixed-use corridor policy to the plan amendment site as located in a transition and infill area, technically it may be appropriate for additional uses. However, the rationale to change the policy in order to allow for an additional parking lot, it just does not fully align with Nashville Next guidance. So the next area we're going to look at is the community character policy. So the requested policy, as I said, encourages a lot of high-density residential and mixed-use development along corridors. In this particular instance, we along Charlotte Pike, the nearest corridor, which is located approximately 450 feet north of the site. But there currently is no direct access to the site, to Charlotte Pike from the site. So the topography of the area is such that, if you're familiar with the area, to the east there, or I want to say southeast of the site, you have Hill Circle, which is, you have housing up there that reaches all the way 660 feet. And then you have Cowden site, which is sitting at 580 feet, so almost a 100-foot drop there. And the property itself is located at the end of a residential street. And the Cowden Avenue is higher in elevation than the adjacent businesses. And this is just another screenshot right here to kind of give a little bit more context of what I'm talking about. The site itself is going to be behind the vegetation wall right there, and what you're looking at is a parking lot right there to Xander's Insurance. So to add a little bit more context, these are the houses that you're going to see throughout the neighborhood right there. The actual house to the top right there is the one that's located adjacent to the parking lot, or the proposed parking lot. So next we're going to look at transportation and connectivity. So suburban mixed-use corridor areas, they feature connected street systems that provide for a multitude of transportation options. North of the site, as I've said, which is Charlotte Pike, is classified as a mixed-use arterial boulevard, which has an immediate need for high-capacity transit. Public transportation along this corridor is provided by the WeGo Route 50, with the closest bus stop being 800 feet to the west of the site. And again, there is no direct connection to Charlotte Pike from Cowden Avenue. Instead, Cowden Avenue is accessed only by Marshall Avenue. Lastly, going to look at the relationship to the surrounding policies. Just take a look at the map here before you. The current suburban neighborhood evolving policy, which is shown in beige, is in place along Cowden Avenue and extends to the residential areas to the east, south, and southwest. The site is surrounded on the north, south, and west sides by parcels in the suburban mixed-use corridor policy. Charlotte Pike is also in the suburban mixed-use policy, but it begins to transition to the east beyond Marshall Avenue. And lastly, you see that conservation policy is in place on the areas along Hill Circle, calling attention to the steep slopes. And with this, staff feels it is appropriate that the site remain in the neighborhood evolving policy to maintain the residential fabric of the neighborhood. And so we have now a summary of our analysis, So what we came away with, or if you want to just follow along, is that keeping the existing residential policy T3, neighborhood evolving, is appropriate for the site. The neighborhood is established, it's a desirable residential area with multiple new homes being constructed all throughout the area. The property is in a transitional infill area, and again, reasons for changing the policy to allow additional surface parking lot, it just doesn't fit with Nashville Next. Also, if you go back to the topography slides, you see the differences that separate this property from the adjacent commercial properties. Options for access, connectivity, and mobility are not enhanced at all by the applicant's proposal. And lastly, residents, they brought some very legitimate concerns about changing the policy and zoning for the site, and just removing a residential property from a desirable location is kind of number one on their list. And so with that, staff recommends disapproval of the policy request.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Very good presentation and very thorough. Thank you for your first time. Good, very nice work. All right, so we'll go ahead and open this item for public hearing. Is the applicant in the room? Come on up. You have 10 minutes, and you can save 2 of the 10 minutes for rebuttal. Welcome.
Great. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is John Gore. I'm with Barge, Coughlin & Associates. We're located at 6606 Charlotte Pike. We appreciate the opportunity to speak to the Planning Commission about this policy amendment change, and we also wanted to thank staff for their hard work during the analysis and also their guidance during the public engagement process. We appreciate staff's perspective on this land use policy, but we think there's some unique aspects to this property that warrant some special consideration from the Planning Commission. As Corey said, the parcel contained here is 0.3 acres. It's owned by Zander Insurance Company, who's had its headquarters on the 1.6 acre parcel that's just to the west. Zander Insurance Company has been in business since 1928 and currently employs about 200 people on the site. As their business has grown, they've exceeded their available parking spaces on site. They have pursued off-site parking solutions, including leasing parking from the church across Charlotte Pike. But this has grown into a safety issue with employees having to cross Charlotte Pike, which has resulted in many close calls and one employee being struck by a car while crossing Charlotte Pike. Zander Insurance would like to utilize their 0.3 acre parcel to expand their parking, but the parcel currently is zoned R6, so that does not allow for parking as a use. As was mentioned, we had one community meeting in August of 2021, as well as Zander has had dozens of individual conversations with surrounding neighbors to understand and address their concerns. The overwhelming concern from the neighbors has been not allowing the proposed parking lot to access Cowden Avenue. If you can see the map, as Corey said, Cowden Avenue comes from the east and dead ends into this parcel. Zander has no problem committing to not tying to this parcel. And in fact, when you, Corey talked a little bit about the topography of this parking lot, the elevation that the Zander Insurance building is about 12 feet down from where Cowden Avenue dead ends into this property. So it's really not feasible, even if you wanted to make a connection, it's not feasible. So if this policy amendment is successful and the rezoning is successful, then if a parking lot was constructed, it would have to tie internally to the existing parking lot, and it would exit out onto Charlotte Pike, so it would not affect the neighbors from a vehicular standpoint. The other thing that's important to point out is that if the rezoning is successful, then it would change to OR20. So OR20 adjacent to R6 requires a C buffer, so that is Metro zoning's second most stringent buffer. So I think that would hopefully help ease some of the concerns about the residential use next to parking. As you can see, this is Zander's existing parking lot. It has 0 width buffer basically, but you can see that there's very grown up green screen and that the property adjacent is much higher. So we feel like from, lights and noise and that sort of thing, that there's going to be even better buffer on a proposed new parking lot than there is at the existing parking lot. Speaking to the policy itself, would it be okay to go back to the slide that shows the policy map? Yeah, there. Speaking of the policy itself, if you look, you'll see that this parcel is somewhat of an island from a policy perspective. It's surrounded to the north, to the west, and to the south by this mixed-use policy. As Corey mentioned, it's important to note that this was kind of obvious in the Nashville Next process, and that this parcel was identified during that process as a possible infill location, because it just seems obvious because of its, say, surrounding policy and also its kind of grade separation from the neighborhood to the east. The zoning that we're proposing, the associated zoning case that would go on the next Planning Commission agenda is OR 20. That was chosen so that it would not allow just kind of long-term any real intense commercial uses against this property. The zonings kind of surrounding this area are a combination of CS and OR 20 right now. But like I say, the parcel is so small, it's 0.3 acres. So realistically, once you have that C buffer on the east side and once you have the side setbacks, you end up with, I think, a little bit less than 0.2 acres. So it's very small. It's not really feasible long-term to put much of a building or anything else on. The last thing we'd want to kind of point out is from just kind of speaking to Nashville Next, and does this accomplish the goals of Nashville Next? From our perspective, one reason it does is because you have a successful business here, employs over 200 people. So when you think about the vitality of a corridor here and all the businesses, again, our offices are close to this location. It's redeveloping quickly, but you're getting a lot of kind of restaurants and other service locations. But we think having these employees come in here and having a business be able to grow and keep its employees on a corridor like this is important to the health of the corridor, just kind of generally speaking. The last thing I'll say is I think in your public comment package, you've got multiple letters of support from neighbors and also from Councilmember Roberts. So again, we appreciate your consideration of this request, and we'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, and we'll reserve 2 minutes for your rebuttal. Is there anyone wishing to speak in support of the project? Anyone in support? Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Come on up, and you have 2 minutes. Please state your name and address, and welcome.
Hello, thank you for hearing this proposal. My name is Tyler Bradford. I'm the co-chairman of the Hillwood Summit Neighborhood Association, by which this parcel resides. I can say I've had 0 conversations with the applicant outside of the public hearing that happened at the end of last year. Despite numerous requests for plans and conversations, those were falling on deaf ears. Thankfully, Corey kept me in the loop. I did a great job of saying when this was coming up before the Planning Commission. Again, this provides no value to the neighborhood as a whole. To rezone and to pave and create a parking lot in a residential zone provides 0 value to the neighborhood. So I don't want to take the full 2 minutes because we also have a neighbor who lives next door to the proposed rezone who just recently purchased new construction. So
He gets 2 minutes too. So
he gets 2 minutes as well. Okay, great. Sorry, I guess I could slow down.
Keep going.
Sorry. Okay. So so yes, those are the concerns that we have and the reasons that we brought up. Initially, it was because of the traffic on Marcia, because we have a business at the very end that causes traffic already for the neighbors. For those of us that live up on top of Hill Circle, it's already a nightmare with traffic. When we heard about this, we became interested, asked questions, solicited input from the neighbors, and it was overwhelmingly in opposition to this rezone. For most of the reasons that I mentioned before, it's already residential. There's a shortage of housing in Nashville. That was a perfect lot, or is a perfect lot, to build 2 brand new homes to help revitalize the neighborhood and help it to continue to grow. So my proposal is that you disapprove as was requested, or at least that Corey proposed, and consider keeping it residential so that the neighborhood can continue to grow in the manner that we're hoping. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up. Please state your name and address.
All right. My name is Will Stout. I live next door in 6107 Cowden Avenue, which my wife and I bought in July. Shortly after, a month later, this came through, and so we were definitely in opposition to it. We, especially as a young family in Nashville, buying a house is a big commitment, and we use the current zoning as a kind of a rubric. Young families looking for housing have to rely on zoning and land use policy to make very important decisions, hefty financial decisions. And so in reliance on that, I ask that you keep the zoning. Another thing I would like to point out is I am very sympathetic to safety concerns for individuals crossing the street, except during the rather contentious community meeting, after which, likewise, I have heard nothing from Xander Insurance, despite being the neighbor who lives next door. It came out that Xander has 200 employees, except they only have 119 parking spots. I believe the engineering, and I'm sure this could be clarified later, decided this would only add 10 to 20. It's great that Xander's growing, but it seems like they've outgrown the neighborhood. I don't want to lose a residential lot next door that my wife and I are excited about, families moving next door, to a business that probably won't be there soon just because it's outgrowing the neighborhood, which is fine. It's great, it's a success story. But, you know, once this gets turned into a parking lot, that's permanent. Unfortunately, that happened to the lot beside it, which now makes it an island. So this is kind of a problem of Xander's own creation there. But I don't want it to happen again, so I ask that you accept Corey's decision and disapprove it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Come on up. Welcome.
Howdy. I'm Bernard Pickney. I live at 4604 Dakota Avenue, and my wife and I own the property directly across Lakewood Avenue from the Xander Insurance Company. And we own more land than they do, and we've owned it a lot longer than they've been there, so we ought to have some say in how this zoning goes out. And, you know, this might be surrounded on three sides by, you know, zoning that is compatible with this rezone, but our neighbor that has a house next door to it is surrounded on four sides by property that's compatible with his property. And, you know, why should the neighborhood pay for poor planning by an insurance company? You know, they should have bought a property where they can expand into it. We shouldn't have to give up our property value so that they can expand. And I've known the neighborhood and the people in this neighborhood for probably since the 1950s. And this is really a rundown neighborhood, and it's finally starting to catch on and develop and grow. And, you know, it's been encroached on from the Charlotte area, you know, from back in the 60s, I guess. But this is a terrible rezoning. And we had a neighborhood association meeting in the early part of 2020, just before COVID hit, and we voted to oppose any zoning denser than R6. And so, you know, and the council lady was there for that meeting, and I've talked to a lot of my neighbors. Nobody up there that I've talked to is in favor of this. I know there was one guy that was neutral on it, and they tried to make it look like he was in favor of it. So, you know, from the neighborhood meeting and everything else, and for the community meeting, I'm just against it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else? Make sure we get everybody. All right. The applicant has a 2-minute rebuttal. Come on up.
We'd just like to say we appreciate the neighbors' comments. Again, there was a little bit of a discussion on traffic, and we appreciate that they're concerned about traffic, but again, the way that this parcel is situated, it's kind of internal to itself, so any traffic would be using the same curb cut on Charlotte. As far as the public engagement, we've been keeping an eye on the published letters on the planning SharePoint site, so we've been reaching out to anybody that showed up there. We've not seen any opposition from the gentleman here, but I'm sure that Xander Insurance, if we can get their names, would be glad to follow up and talk to them. Then again, I guess kind of the last point, again, speaking kind of just to the health of the mixed-use corridor, the gentleman that spoke, seemed like say they're just like any neighbor is concerned about the overall vitality as all this area continues to redevelop and property values go up. So again, we just feel like an employer and a business that's been there for a long time is part of kind of the overall success of a mixed-use corridor like this. But like I said, we welcome any further discussions with neighbors and be glad to try to work towards understanding the concerns and addressing them with the final design of this proposed parking lot. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I don't see we're ready for the council member, but I do not see the council member. So seeing no one else wishing to speak, I declare the public hearing closed. We're on to discussion. Commissioner Tibbs, you want to go first?
I can. It is an interesting parcel or interesting case because it is such an island already. You kind of do want to have it more to some type of home for it. I do, understand the neighbors. It's kind of like a really odd, in Charlotte Pike right here is an area that I won't say needs attention, but, the whole corridor is something that it needs to be attention to it because it's so much happening there and it's such a diverse area of businesses and, kind of like what's happening right now, right behind it, residential on that hill that's relatively somewhat new, but it's, kind of an extension of what's already been happening. So I was kind of listening both ways, and Xander Insurance has been there for quite a while, and I do understand. I think I was less favorable at turning into a parking lot. I think it was kind of what was, taken away more from it. I think if there was a little bit more development of what it could be, as opposed to just another surface parking, I'd feel a little bit, more to go against staff recommendation for it. But understanding the neighborhood is actually using Neighborly Avenue, the way that works, it does, I will say I don't have a strong opinion either way because of how it sits in that island there. I'd probably lean more toward where the neighborhood is pushing with it. And, overall, and the other reason why I'm a little bit not wanting to make the change, maybe even YET yet, is because I feel like this area does need some, real development, understanding of attention. Is this, are we really, promoting this the right way, or, the way we're looking at this, especially this area too, this one little, is this the right thing going forward? Does this whole thing need to be studied a little bit more? So I kind of talking in a circle, and I probably ventured away from my microphone too much too. So right now, I think I do agree with staff recommendation to just kind of leave it as it is. But I'm interested to hear what my other commissioners say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Blackshear?
Well, I'd like to say that Corey did great, so good first time. Can check this off the list. I think this is an interesting case because both the applicant and the opposition have really compelling arguments. The neighbors touched on a couple of points that I was interested in, and that was whether, obviously the whole idea, right, is just to solve a parking issue, and we would not otherwise consider this, but, we see a business that needs space to accommodate employees in a safe way. But my question was, which is something that the neighbors touched on, was whether this actually solves the parking problem. It sounds like Xander's doing really well, so what if it keeps growing? Does another property then need to be changed over to a different policy? And it sounds like from what one of the neighbors said that maybe even changing this parcel over doesn't exactly solve the parking problem, because maybe this will be insufficient to give enough parking to current employees. And then what if Xander sells the property to another business that has fewer in-office workers, and you're left with a parking lot that just doesn't need to be there? And so I'm really sympathetic to Xander Insurance and wanting to provide for its employees with this. And I don't know a better solution than this, but this seems to be an inappropriate solution to that problem. So I would be in support of the staff's recommendation, but certainly interested to hear what other commissioners have to say.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. I want to confirm one thing with Lisa. So this property is zoned R6. So even though this community plan change is successful, they still have to change the zoning to accommodate automobile parking, correct?
Yes, and there is an application that has also been filed to change the zoning. We made the decision as staff to sort of separate the two, given that this was a recommendation of disapproval, so that we could let you all opine and make this decision, and then we would put the zone change on the agenda after we've had the decision on the plan amendment. So there is a zone change to change the zoning to OR20, which would, if this is approved, then that would be on the next agenda.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was, so for that standpoint, because applicant wanting is changing that little parcel to automobile parking purpose, so the reason itself to accompany a community plan change is inappropriate in my mind. Because if we do have, good use to accompany with community change, it would be one thing, but, kind of separate, we could consider at one time. And so another reason I think this community plan change is not appropriate at this time, and especially at this specific location, is no connection to Charlotte Pike. If this parcel has direct connection to Charlotte Pike, it would be appropriate considering surrounded by T3 mixed-use corridor. However, this parcel access is from Cordon, which is kind of dead end of neighborhood street. So this neighborhood street around there is really narrow. It's like a really local street. So to put like having, added commercial, more intense usage and policy, dead end of a neighborhood parcel, I don't think it's appropriate. And if, since this area, surrounding area, T3 neighborhood evolving is, the Corey stated, it has been really developed as in the neighborhood. So I think it's having there as a neighborhood, and if that parcel in the future come up with really nice office mixed-use policy and supported by surrounded neighbor, that would be appropriate at that time to change the policy. But unless and until then, just change the policy for this one island, to me it's not appropriate. And as far as surface parking, I was watching August 19th meeting because it was online and it was uploaded to YouTube. And thank you for the staff and IT for doing so. So it was great conversation. Quite frankly, I was disappointed because there was good conversation and good suggestion from the neighbor. So I was hoping there was ongoing, engagement and better solution. Unfortunately, seems like, there's no engagement after that. So for that reason, I think unless it has, more pressing support from the neighbor, I think changing the policy at this point is not appropriate. So I am in support of the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner. Councilman?
Thank you, Commissioners. I really appreciate staff explaining the rationale for not having the associated zone change come alongside the policy change, because that was a lot of my question is, are we just asking for a blanket policy change where anything could go there, or is it more, how does this align with that? So I appreciate you explaining that. this is, I think Commissioner Blackshear stated it well, that we've heard really good arguments on both sides. And I'm going to play, I guess, the other side of the coin a little bit. I know that we do have a letter of support from Councilmember Roberts for this case. And she could not be here today. And it's unfortunate. I always wish my colleagues could be here so that we could hear from them and hear from their perspective how the meetings went and things like that. You know what I mean? You hear both sides, but it's always good to hear from the council member when they can be here, what their feeling is on how things went. Are things getting better? Is it, is there traction or is there movement in some direction based on those conversations? And it's just unfortunate that Councilmember Roberts wasn't able to be here to provide that. But I can see the other way, but I can see, the fact that there is a parking lot area immediately to the south, so this is an island, does suggest to me that this would be appropriate for that area, both from a policy standpoint and frankly, even from a zoning standpoint. Sometimes we don't always want to have the corridors themselves be lined with surface parking. And so sometimes you would actually see that it would be more appropriate to have a parking lot in the rear of developments than along the street itself. So I could see from my standpoint, in the 5 Points area, I've got an area where I have a random R6 parcel sandwiched in between some things, and I was able to work with the neighborhood during that rezoning process to convert that over to parking because they would much rather have that parking from the business that's going in there be in an off-street parking lot than clogging up their street, right? But at least in that case, I was able to have conversations with those neighbors and present that case to the commission. So like I said, I can actually see that from my standpoint, the policy change is appropriate, and I would even say that the associated zoning, while maybe not ideal, could be appropriate as well. It's just unfortunate that we were not able to hear from the council member today and have the details from the associated case present. I do think that Mr. Gore presented some really good information about the topography. And with that, could I clarify two things, I think, from staff? One is for the access to what presently is on this site?
Presently on the site is vacant.
It's vacant land?
Vacant land, yes.
It's vacant.
Heavy vegetation there, so yes, sir.
And has it been vacant for a long time, or?
Since November 2020.
Okay, so not a long time.
Not a long time, no,
okay.
sir.
So it is vacant land. And for the access to the site, the pictures really help to show the topography, but access to the site, would the access to the site be, if it were a parking lot with the same owner, with Zander Insurance, would access be through the existing parking lot from Zander, or would access be from Cowden, or both?
That is not something that we would be regulating. If the policy is changed and the zoning were changed, then they would just need to be meeting the code, and they would go to get building permits. But the location of access or limiting access is not something that we would be able to control. And so theoretically, I think access could be from either.
From either one, okay. Well, again, that's just one of those things where I hate to do SPs all the time, so things like that, but sometimes having a site plan is a little bit helpful for these. So, I think that the policy change actually is okay. Policy, I would point out that the policy does support residential as well. So it's not that it's the policy that's requested prohibits residential. I know that neighbors are interested in having residential there. The policy doesn't change that, and the policy doesn't do anything to the existing base zoning either. So I think that the policy change is appropriate. It's just that more conversation probably needs to be had about the zoning itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Commissioner Henley?
Councilmember actually addressed a couple of things I was going to bring up. I think, for me, in looking at this and understanding it, a lot of times long-standing institutions, and you can put your own brackets around what long-standing means, acquire property in a current location to expand or further their existence in the space. So it doesn't seem odd to me. I think, the presentation was very good, so thank you for that, and very in-depth. I agree that it would have been great to have the council member of the district present to articulate some of the things that not only, happened during the community meeting, but also just things that have happened since that happened in August, I believe is what was presented to us. But again, we did get a letter of support from the council person. I do also think that some of the things that I heard from those who are speaking in opposition here can be addressed via, something more defined and more definite. And so I was really interested, but I think I already got the explanation of why they were broken apart. I mean, I know I say SP a lot and people don't like to hear that, but I think for the way that our city is growing and we start to have these abutting uses, particularly in people's neighborhoods and their backyards, it is very important for them to have a good picture of what they may be looking forward to. Whether they agree or not, at least it gives them a lot more transparency. And I think here, when you have control of a site and you're able to access it from a particular location, being able to show that and commit to it not impacting Cowden Avenue, I think is a big piece of what I think the adjacent community members care about. And the last thing I'll say, I think, with Zander Insurance being there and having basically the exact same use all around it, I think it's pretty consistent to say that, most of the community has been living with that use for a period of time anyway. That's kind of my first knee-jerk reaction. I mean, you've been living with them parking 100-plus cars there. They'll add some, but I would assume that it wasn't an extreme nuisance as long as they confine it to access through their site. I think that would make the most sense, but I would, my preference would be for these to be presented together and for it to be with something much more defined, for my opinion, to be given with more comfort. But I don't necessarily see a need to reject the change based on what I was presented today.
Commissioner Sims.
I want to thank Mr. Clark. First of all, this is my first time to hear you, and I found your analysis really robust as well as easy to understand, and those two are hard to put together, so thank you. I also want to say that I'm kind of known for wanting neighborhood engagement, and some of it's because I have the heart and I want the people in the neighborhood to have a voice, but more importantly, there's a mathematical formula. The more data points you have, the more accurate the outcome can be, and also the more creative. And I'm really bothered that there's not been a serious conversation. I think there probably is a solution here, but doing a major plan to our amendment is not the right one. So I would really encourage you to get with the neighborhoods and the people here. They want to add to how we solve a really hard problem in our city between density and supporting businesses. So that I think is the reason I would have to say no to this.
Thank you, Commissioner. And you are the last to speak. Do you have a motion, or does anybody have a motion? Okay. Commissioner Sims.
Yes, I vote that we approve the disapproval of the staff for this case.
So it's a motion to disapprove. And is there a second? Second? Is there any other discussion? All in favor of disapproval? More discussion? Yes, Commissioner.
Again, I know we've got a motion. I think I just encourage those representing the owner to go back and talk to the community. It sounds like you're on the agenda next time anyway. I don't know what that will be based on what we're hearing today. So I guess that's kind of my point of clarification.
No, we're still in discussion on the motion, and so you can discuss that.
So the requested rezoning to OR 20 is not consistent with the current land use policy. So if the decision was made to disapprove the land use policy amendment, then we would not, as staff, recommend approval of a zone change because the zoning, that's the reason that they're asking for the plan amendment, is because the zoning that they're proposing is not consistent with the land use, and the use that they're proposing is not allowed in the current zoning, nor is it allowed in any of the zoning districts that are supported by the current policy.
Anything else, Commissioner Henley? You good?
I just wanted that clear for absorption. Yep.
Okay. Councilman, we're still on discussion.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. Maybe an additional point of clarification. Is it, if this were to be, if the motion to approve staff recommendation for disapproval were to pass today, does that preclude the applicant potentially coming back at a future time with maybe a more detailed request and maybe some additional community engagement? Or would there have to be, like sometimes for some commissions, you can't bring the same thing back over and over again, which I respect, but would there still be a possibility to revisit this in the future?
They could reapply for a plan amendment again.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, so there's been a motion to disapprove. There's been a second, which is accepting the staff's report of disapproval. And so any other discussion? All in favor of the disapproval, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. 2 noes. And it's disapproved. So we are on to so just a clarification on count. There was 2 noes, 4 ayes. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. All right, so let's do this. Let's do show by hands, okay? All in favor of disapproval, raise your hand. So 4 ayes, and no, there's 3 noes. So it is disapproved, 4-3. Want to make sure. We want to get the record straight. All right, thanks everybody for coming down. We appreciate it. And so, commissioners, we've been here an hour and 45 minutes. Do we want to continue? We have one more case. Let's keep going. Okay, we're going to keep rolling. Keep rolling. Item 45.
Chairman, I received word that applicant actually texted me at some point during that last presentation that they would like to defer this item so that they can have some more time to speak with the community. They had done some outreach, but they said they'd like to do some more given the folks that have come. And so they would like to defer one meeting.
So on item 45, the
Yes.
applicant is requesting to defer one meeting?
Defer one meeting, yes.
Is that true?
And wanted to speak with, and wanted to have an opportunity to meet with the folks
To
outside.
meet with the
Yeah.
neighbors? Okay,
Yeah.
outside.
Okay.
And, commissioners, what we generally do is we always want, as Commissioner Sims is a huge advocate of, we want there to be communication. And so we usually honor that request. So is there a motion to defer one meeting?
I move to, defer.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson moves to defer one meeting. There's a second. Any other discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of one meeting deferral, say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. And so now, that is all of the public hearing items, I believe. Is that right, Lisa and Bob?
Yes, sir, that's
right.
correct.
Okay. So we're now on other business, and so anything on historic?
No, Chairman, not today.
Nope, nothing on historic. And then Mr. Haynes is not here for parks. And Bob, and then nothing on executive committee. Be on the lookout for more workshops. We've got a lot of stuff going on. So commissioners, and what I really try to urge is I try to, of course, attend if you're available. We really appreciate everybody attending, because then you can ask very detailed questions and get answers to that. So nothing on executive committee. And then Bob, anything director's report?
Not really. I just wanted to say that Lucy regrets not being here. She has put in a lot of time with the team on the East Bank study and the work that you saw earlier, so the presentation you saw earlier, and she just wanted to say she regretted not being here, but she's really proud of the team for what they've done on that project so far.
Thanks, Bob. Anything, legislative update? Anything from the council? Councilman?
Just want to also thank all the team that's working on the East Bank, because I know it's a lot of work, and we have a lot of opinions in East Nashville generally, and so proud of all the constituent feedback and participation we've had as well. So looking forward to that. Redistricting, as you know, it was recommended by this body. It's up for third reading next Tuesday. I have no reason to believe that it won't be approved, but you never know till it's done. But appreciate, again, all the staff for their work and the commissioners for your consideration, especially those amendments that were considered amendments to MAP-C. I think have definitely made it better. You can never get everyone happy, but I think it did help many districts to feel more contiguous than they had been previously. So just want to thank everyone for that. One of my colleagues, Councilmember Gamble, has a resolution, and it's a resolution, not an ordinance, but sort of wanting to take a look at any areas where council members might feel like the existing Nashville Next community plan isn't kind of what their community is feeling like. I know sometimes we have a lot of discussion about that, I think particularly with neighborhood evolving, for instance. But so she introduced a resolution. We had Director Kempf was present, had a great discussion about it. That is supposed to come back before the council, not at this next meeting, but the first one in February. Kind of what I'm, as the planning committee chair, hoping to do is, we're certainly not going to redo Nashville Next in the next year or two, but just to see if we can get maybe a short list of some areas that council members feel might need some short-term attention in the next 2 years, so we can get that placed on our agenda and the staff's agenda to take a fresh look at, and hopefully that'll smooth some things out in the near future.
Councilman, I'm so glad you brought that up. And if you could send the council a message from us, is that as y'all are the appropriators, you know, and I've said this before, the staff, compared to other cities our size and the amount of work that we do a lot of work. And so as appropriators of funding, I think it's important that the council, that's a great request. And, you know, we generally try to honor those requests, but in talking with the team and the director, you know, sometimes it's hard to meet all of those requests. And at this very point, neighborhoods are requesting to look at their growth plans and look at their policy amendments, and we don't have the staff for it. So I totally understand what the council lady is saying, but as the chair, I always try to fight for the team, and I think it's just important to state that that's something that I encourage the commissioners to talk to the council member about. Hey, and so maybe one thing that we can do is to have a frank discussion and maybe even have a workshop, and I hate doing the workshops, Bob, but looking at what other cities have and what they do and how many staff they have. And so I think it's important to look at that. And maybe it's time to look at that and have the council members involved in the conversation. Because I think if everybody kind of understands, hey, you know, we're having these staffing issues and money. So thank you for saying that. And I know you'll be an advocate for us as well. And so we appreciate that, Councilman.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.